Let's begin on line number one and say good morning to the NDP member for Signal Hill, Katie Vitti, and the leader of the NDP, Lorraine Michael. Good morning, Miss Michael. You're on the air.
Good morning, Patty. How are you this morning?
Very well, thank you.
Good, and thank you so much for taking me. I wanted to give an initial reaction to some of the changes that were announced by the Premier this morning with his new cabinet announcements.
Go right ahead.
One of them is it's a question, and obviously we're just getting this now, so I'm going to have to do more probing to get information. But I'm absolutely shocked that in this list there is no Department of Justice.
Yeah, it's bizarre. I don't even know what the mandate of public safety would be. Like, I have to understand more about what's going on here before I can pass any firm judgment on it.
Well, and like I said, what I'm doing is asking the question.
Yep.
Because there is an awful lot that goes on in the Department of Justice that is far beyond what my understanding of public safety is. And even, from the perspective of legislation, all legislation, for example, has to pass through the Justice Department for legal reasons, all that kind of thing, to be checked out, etc. Like, there is so much under the Department of Justice. Where's it gone? I don't understand where it's gone. So I definitely, we will be trying to get this sorted out and trying to get answers to this and try to find out where this work is now happening, because under this scenario it looks all hidden to me. So, but we have to find out. So I wanted to publicly alert people to the fact that right now at this moment there is no Department of Justice, and we have to find out what's happened to that work.
Yeah, I totally agree, and hopefully we can find out in short order.
In short order, absolutely, because the work that's done inside of justice, we need to know where it is. Where is it happening? Who are the ministers who are in charge of it? Because it's all extremely important work. The issues, for example, of something like the Family Violence Intervention Court, that's a justice issue. Where's that gone? So anyway, very, very concerned about this, not knowing what the Premier has in his mind around this. So we definitely have to ask about it. One thing that's positive, and I have to point it out, because of the fact that it's responding to something that we as a party have been saying now for several years and have been calling for, is the Department of Education and Early Childhood Development. And the notice from government says that the department will be responsible for the continuum of learning from infancy through high school. And I think anybody who's listened to me in the House of Assembly, or listened to me talking to you, or talking to Pete, or talking to Jonathan, or whoever was there before Jonathan, will know this is something we've been calling for now for a number of years. So I am delighted to see that we now have a Department of Education and Early Childhood Education or Early Childhood Development, so that we, stop having this separation of children's education based on age.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I mean, I think it's long overdue. It is a proactive measure being taken here, so I applaud it as well. I think it's the only way to go.
Yeah, it definitely is the only way to go. And, I do want to learn more from the Premier as well with regard to the public safety concerns that he's raising, and which is going to be coming under his portfolio, basically, the whole public safety issue. So we have a minister, Judy Manning, who is not a member of the House of Assembly. She's not an MHA. I understand the need for a lawyer to be the Attorney General, but she's also a Minister of Public Safety, and Minister responsible for the status of women, and Minister responsible for fire and emergency services. Those last two, why she has those portfolios, I don't know. The Minister of Public Safety, which we now understand, the public safety issue is going to be under the Premier, and yet at the same time he has a minister. So this is confusing also. And I am concerned about the focus of the Premier with regard to public safety. I'm not aware that we are unsafe as a public in this province, and so it's going to be interesting to see, and we're going to have to probe that as well, what exactly he has in his mind. But the bottom line of all of that is, where is the Department of Justice? Because that has nothing to do with public safety, as I see it outlined here in his in the memo that has come out, or the release that has come out from government.
Yeah, I'll need a chance to read it so I can pass any firm comment or judgment myself, which is whether or not it's valuable. I'll leave that up to the listeners. But the questions you ask, I think, are important. There is an update on Judy Manning, though. She will not be running in any of the upcoming by-elections, but she is going to run to represent the Tories, at least for the nomination, in Placentia in the general election 15.
Right.
That's what we're told now.
Okay, I haven't seen that yet. It must have just come out,
Just came out just that minute while we were talking.
Okay, so she is going to try to get elected.
Yep.
Fine. That's almost like the, closing the barn door after the horse is gone, but sort of an after action. And like I said, I have no problem.
Oh, but is that fair, though?
And I have no problem with her being the Attorney General. That's not the issue. That's quite fine, But the questions still stand around the public safety issue and the justice issue. Very, very disconcerting. And I'll really be interested in seeing how the work of the new Department of Education and Early Childhood Development rolls out. And I'm hoping that we're going to see a lot more proactive work by this government now with regard to early childhood development, which I hope is going to really start really looking at the whole child care issue, because if they mean what they're saying about the continuum, then the early childhood development has to move backwards and include the whole thing of child care.
No dispute on that front. There are an awful lot of issues of serious importance left on the table. I appreciate your time as always, and when we understand further the actual mandate of these additional departments under umbrellas that are already in existence, what became of the Department of Justice, what will public safety mean, and how will it look, and how will it be staffed, and what their approach would need to be. I don't know the answer to any of those, but they're excellent questions. We'll see what we can find out. Thank you for your time.
If I could just make one more point, just to say that I am looking forward this weekend. I actually leave tomorrow. I'm looking forward this weekend to being in Churchill Falls with the early childhood educators of Labrador. And so we'll have an interesting discussion, I'm sure, now that we have this new department. And
we'll hear from you with some of the things you heard in the big land upon your return. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Paddy.
All the best. Bye-bye. Lorraine Michael, NDP member for Signal Hill, Kitty Vitty, the leader of the NDP.